Hey everybody, Thaddeus here. Just a brief channel update. I am going to be renaming the channel. I want to basically allow myself to be able to diversify away from XJW content. I am also going to actively look into uploading test videos onto BitChute to see how that goes. I might make a Rumble as well. I want it to all be under the same name, and I will likely be changing the channel logo as well, but I need to get that sorted out. I want to have a custom image made. I have finally started learning editing software so I can make higher quality video content. I'm not planning on getting super in-depth with it, but I at least want to be able to do overlays and add images and links and maybe even sounds. And then, I guess work my way up. So just learn a new skill and just improve the general quality of the channel. I also plan to be branching off into other subjects. Not on this platform, unless YouTube ends up changing at some point in the future, because it's already difficult enough to filter everything that you have to say, and not to be able to touch on certain subjects, especially stuff that's going on worldwide, that a lot of people here in the United States or in the United States of America don't know about and are unaware of. And I just want to have the freedom to not have to, censor myself so much. So those are the channel updates. Now to get into the subject of the video at hand. A commenter recently reminded me about the plight that the sisters, that the women have in Watchtower, and how, well, with men, we have our own issues that we have to deal with. The women have their set of issues that they have to deal with, where Watchtower has essentially created a subclass of a subclass. So Watchtower teaches that there are the little flock, which is their version of the 144,000, and there is the great crowd of other sheep. But inside that great crowd of other sheep, you obviously have men and women. And what Watchtower has done is, instead of just having the laity and the clergy class, even if not by name, they have created another subgroup beneath that in their doctrine by, quite frankly, treating women as if they are inferior. And they have their own attempted, I should say, justifications for it. I want to talk about a little bit my perspective, especially being born into the religion. My entire life, but especially now, I am a very meritocratic person, meaning I believe you should be judged on the content of your character and the merits of your actions, not on anything else. I've always been this way. So it bothered me growing up that basically what the sisters were subjected to, just ridiculous things that to an outsider, they just wouldn't understand it. And especially now, being on the outside looking in, how absolutely ridiculous some of these things are. For example, let's say it's summertime and none of the sisters have a hat or a scarf or anything like that. One of them might have to find a napkin. And it's like, what for? If you're not a witness or never were, for a head covering. So Watchtower interprets the passage about head coverings in a particular way, that if women are to, which, by the way, women did speak and they did prophesy in the early Christian congregations, and prophesy does not mean fortune-telling or predicting the future by definition necessarily, but so if a sister is going to pray, if they're going to take out the service group, if there's a young, 10 years old baptized brother there, they're supposed to wear a head covering. My mother, I admire her attitude behind it, of she would always take it seriously, especially when she was studying with me, since I got baptized so young. And I have to admire the intentions and the attitude, if not the substance, of the action, if that makes any sense. And I feel the same way with a lot of the JW sisters, where I could admire the desire and the intention to please God, to be that version of submissive, even though I disagree with it in principle. I can understand it if you understand what I'm trying to say. And I don't feel that it's right, but I wanted to touch on a few points. And I'm going to do probably a condensed version specifically targeting JWs. But at Pentecost 33 CE, and this is included in the artwork, at least the older artwork, at least there were all kinds. There were men and women. So, according to Watchtower, there were female anointed. And there were female anointed, members of their 144,000, inside the organization. So, if there can be women anointed, why on earth can they not do all the same things that a male anointed can? The supposed privileges that the organization hands out to its members, responsibilities, really free labor, and everything. If they are going to be ruling as part of the Watchtower's 144,000 class, why are they not entitled to all of the privileges or rights, granted thereof to the men? It doesn't make any sense. And it goes into how religion screws everything up. By religion, I mean the organized hierarchical structure of man's interpretations, doctrines that are then, one way or another, put upon, or in some cases forced upon, other men and women. You must believe this way or else. That else could be shunning, or we won't have anything to do with you, or we'll burn you for nightly illumination. There's a whole spectrum there. And it always bothered me in the hall how perfectly intelligent and competent sisters, and in JW culture, with the oral traditions and the unwritten doctrines, you have elderettes and everything. We had some, we joked about it, that we had female elders where they were perfectly capable of running the groups, of doing anything that a brother could do intellectually, as far as from the platform, but they weren't allowed to because they were a sister. Oh, I'm actually, I'm kind of surprised that when sisters would get up to give their parts on the stage, the sit down ones or demonstrations, that they were not by default required to have a head covering. At least it never came up in my area. Let me know if that ever did in yours. But JW women are under a lot of pressure. I remember I was the only male pioneer for a long time, and in my hall, and I just remember every single assembly, every single convention, the worry and the stress and the preoccupation that they would have with finding an outfit and figuring out how to tailor every aspect of that outfit to, either their fathers or husbands, the elders, people from other areas, circuit overseer, to make sure that it was, in whoever's arbitrary opinion, presentable, fit, suitable, modest, but not too flashy. And it drove me absolutely nuts. Um, Brothers have their own pressures that they have to deal with, but the Watchtower itself, it has a lot of burdensome oral traditions, man-made doctrines, and reality just corporate policies that are put on people. And it's not a healthy environment. Oh, and it just makes me sad. But, all right, starting to get a little cooler out here, so I'm going to cut it short for now. But I hope you're all having a good day, and that you all have a good night.